Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Ashleigh, or you guys can just call me Ashleigh, and I'm just so excited to be here. This is actually my first YouTube video, and I'm just so excited. I just really, we're here to play in makeup. That's the basis of this channel. We're here to play in makeup. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk about new releases. We're here to get tips and tricks. Just go through the whole makeup world, whatever's coming out new. We're going to talk about it also. Are we going to buy some of this stuff? I don't know. But whatever comes our way, we're just going to have fun. That is the basis of this channel. And I'm just so happy to be here and to just put my foot out here in the YouTube world. It's been a dream of mine for such a long time, and I'm just really happy that I was able to go ahead and start filming my first video. But today we are going to talk about a good palette. I think I started my channel off with a bang. I mean, you guys can let me know. I mean, we're talking about the Pat McGrath Mothership V palette. I mean, look at this artwork. It's gorgeous. Her artwork is uncompared to anybody else in the makeup world right now. My package did arrive a little bit like this. Palette shades, they were fine. But like I said, this right here is just a little loose. I will take some glue and just kind of glue it down, but I did want to show you that probably in shipping, or maybe because they just had to fold the boxes in production, it did arrive like this, but nothing was damaged in my palette. So if you open the palette, it actually opens like this, and it's kind of like an old-fashioned office envelope, or they still have some of these legal file envelopes, and you just unwrap it. And I think I have wrapped it and rewrapped it again twice, and then you open it up, and the artwork is right here on the inner and outer, so you can see that's really attention to detail, because she could have just left it blank right here, cardboard packaging. And then we have the palette on the inside, and like I said, mine is kind of broke, so it just kind of slid on us, but I have the palette, and then we have the names of the shades, and this does come out in this little card right here that gives us the names. So this palette is very heavy. It's a nice, heavy, sturdy plastic, I want to say, and I'm tapping my nail just so you can feel how hard it is. Now, I did attempt to actually put this palette on my scale, and I wanted to see like the actual weight of this palette, you know, because some people, they complain about palettes being heavy, or especially if they travel a lot, to take on their travel or their vacation. And I totally get that, because I do travel a lot. However, I wouldn't mind traveling with this palette if I was going someplace special. If I was going to maybe a gala that was out of town, or somebody's wedding, and my outfit maybe required these particular shadows, I would not mind traveling with this. But if I was just going like a little quick getaway with my girls, then maybe this is not the palette I would take to travel. Now, once you open it up, it is beautiful. I mean, honestly, I don't want to blind you with the mirror, but it is beautiful. Hopefully we can get the lighting to catch some of these shades and the dual chromes in there. And then you do have a nice big quality mirror that runs the whole length of the palette, so you can look in there and do your makeup, which is important. And then once you close the palette, if you notice, you do have her logo on here. It's kind of like a hieroglyphic block lettering with Pat McGrath Labs, and then you turn it around, and it's nice and gold, so you probably won't be able to see any of the words on the back of the palette. And I think it's so funny, she has a lot of details on here. It says Pat McGrath Labs, and it says Mothership. It says use without caution. Without caution. Shade throwing and eye ecstasy may result in prolonged use. And let me tell you, when she says may result in prolonged use, she is absolutely correct. That's kind of like the downfall of trying a Pat McGrath palette. Once you try one, you're like, ooh, I need to try the other one. So like, I like this one. So, I mean, Pat McGrath has really blessed us with this one. Once I saw these shades in here, I mean, especially these three shades. Well, actually, no, because these three shades right here that I'm speaking of, 1, 2, 3, they are actually like their special formula. They're shimmery, they're glitter toppers. You can apply them. I have them in the inner corner today. You can build them up and make them more opaque, especially by just adding some Fix Plus, or you can use a little glitter glue. You can transform the shade underneath and make it a totally new shade. I mean, they're wonderful. And then I saw the Blitz Flame. I mean, I saw this little thing on Trim Mood, like just a little picture of it. I didn't even have to open up the whole picture. I already knew That was Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath was coming to bless us, okay? She's coming to bless us with a new eyeshadow palette. Unfortunately, she is not coming to bless our wallets, okay? Because we all know that Pat McGrath is expensive. $125 this palette retails for. Yes, you heard correctly, $125. Now, this palette can be purchased on her website exclusively. Now, at the beginning, she did have a promotional code where you got 10% off the palette. And then you can also purchase it at Sephora in store or Sephora.com. Now, because Pat McGrath is such a luxury line, I do tend to notice that all Sephora stores do not carry the line, so you might want to call your local Sephora and see if they actually carry the line. I noticed that some of the bigger standalone stores actually carry the line in store. And like I say, you can purchase this palette from patmcgrath.com. She does have something called Affirm on there that you can use, and it's $42 with 3 installments, I believe, to purchase the palette. Now, it says it's 3 interest-free installments. Now, I'm not sure how Affirm works. I've never actually used it. And I do not know if they run a credit check, uses your social security number, or anything like that, but they are offering to it for you to purchase that palette with 3 payments of $42. So it's just another option to purchase this palette. Now, luckily, I was able to finagle my way. I do have a couple of other Pat McGrath palettes, and like I said, $125 for these 10-pan palettes is very expensive. But luckily, I was able to get one both of them actually as Christmas gifts. I got this one as a Christmas gift when Sephora ran a sale, and then my grandmother actually sent me money for Christmas, and I was like, you know what? I want this palette. She gave me enough to get the palette, so I'm going to get the palette, because you know how you might get a gift or a check or a little bit of money for Christmas, your birthday, or a special occasion, or a congratulatory occasion, and you'll put the money in your account, and then you buy gas, you bought some food, you bought something else random, and guess what? You had spent all the money and you still don't have what you want. So I said, nope, I'm going to purchase the palette and then put the check in my bank account, and that's going to cover the purchase, because otherwise I probably would put it in my account, bought whatever I just said before, and then I still had to use my own money. Now, luckily with this palette, because Sephora did recently revamp their reward system, as you guys may or may not know, they did have a sale about 2-3 weeks ago at the beginning of September where they are revamping their reward system. So I am VIB Rouge. I'm telling on myself, but I'm VIB Rouge, and they have it where you can redeem 2,500 points for a $100 gift card. And I mean, finally, because Ulta, you can redeem your points for rewards. Now, the only thing about it is you do have to be Rouge, which is, I don't really think it's fair, because if you have the 2,500 points and you save them up, you should be able to redeem that $100 gift card, no matter if you're Rouge or not, or how much money you spend within that particular calendar year. Maybe you just had the points saved up. So I did use that, so it made the palette $25, which is way more economical than $100, and I saved that gift card just for that. It does drop into Rewards Bazaar. You can check the app or the website, and it comes down every Tuesday and Thursday. They are not unlimited, so I think it's a first few whatever thousand that can able to get their hands on it are able to redeem that. And you do not have to make a purchase in order to redeem that $100 gift card. So that made the palette very much easier to redeem. So with these particular palettes that Pat McGrath have, I do not throw away my artwork. Usually you have palettes and they have the outside box, outside sleeve, or what have you. I do not throw it out. I mean, it's an experience within itself. I mean, just gorgeous, and it just the attention to detail. Now, my only gripe about having these palettes, if you do not keep the artwork, or not even just my only gripe because you don't keep the artwork, even if you keep the artwork, to use it, you have to fully remove it and then have the palette. And depending on the vanity or the space that you're using, you have to kind of put this over to the side someplace else so you can use your palette. Not to mention, when I open these up right here, these open up the same ways as the Mothership 5. You got another black palette. I'm gonna open the Decadence. This is Mothership 4. Unfortunately, this one was limited edition. This one right here is gorgeous. I mean, like the formula, it's just nothing like it. So as you can see, I have all 3 Mothership palettes, and now I just have a bunch of palettes in my hand. You don't know which one they are. So if you're storing them in your drawers without these covers or envelopes or boxes, whatever you would like to call them, you don't really know what palette it is. And especially with the other 2 palettes, I mean, she does not have the name on them on the back. Now it looks like with, not it looks like, but it is with this particular one, the Mothership 5, she did take our advice, and you probably won't be able to see it because of the lighting and just the type of material and color it is on the back. There is a little sticker right here, and it does say Mothership 5, so you at least know, you know, what type or which particular palette it is without looking at it. Now, she does have these little guys right here, and these 2 coincide with the first launch that came out last year with the Mothership 1, 2, and 3. And I actually prefer the packaging of these a lot better because not only do you get this gorgeous artwork, the palette itself sits within this. And I'm not sure if that, maybe that's not possible with the other palette because it's so big. I don't know. But the palette is just like encased in here, and then you have your mirror. So you get to enjoy this gorgeous artwork, and then your palette's in here. And you don't have to worry about placing the box someplace else while you do your makeup. It's all right here. It is compact, you know, and then it has a little elastic string right here. So I do actually prefer the packaging of these little mini guys much better than I do the other palettes. Now, this palette does not have the names on the front of it. I know some people would really don't like it when you have a card. This card is a little annoying. I just couldn't even imagine how much it would even cost to put the names on the front of them. So that's probably a reason why they're not on the palette itself, because just look at this hard material. You know, she would probably almost have to engrave the names of the shadows onto this palette, and God knows how much more that would cost, and the palette already is expensive, and it would probably be another $25, and for that I am okay. You do not need to put the names. Keep it cool with the card. I'm good. So if you guys don't know who Pat McGrath is, she's actually a very well-known makeup artist. She is if you've seen any pictures in Vogue magazine or some Vogue covers, you may have known it might be her or might not be her, because anybody can take a picture from Vogue or whoever they contract out. But she is behind a lot of that. She is the makeup artist who she's always responsible for a lot of the big runway shows in Paris, for Fashion Week. She is from London, but I believe she resides in New York City now, and she actually started Pat McGrath Labs in 2015 underneath the direction of her mother, just giving her advice like, maybe you should share your talents with the world so everybody can experience it. And I think that's a great idea. She's such a great, fantastic makeup artist, and if you're only a model, or you know, or if you just have enough money and you probably are a celebrity, you're the only person that really can benefit from Pat McGrath, you know, doing your makeup. But hey, the masses get to join in now because of her, you know, her cosmetic line. And it's just, she's really bringing something to the field of makeup that a lot of people aren't. She has her expertise. She draws inspiration from everywhere. If you follow her on Instagram, you may notice that she will put out a lot of movie clips, and it's basically she'll say, this is where I got the Mothership 5 inspiration from, this particular color right there. Or it could be an outfit. She uses texture, she uses fabric, she uses movies, she uses pictures, she uses everything as her inspiration. And I think it's really cool. She's really bringing something unique to the makeup industry, and her formulas are unlike any. It's just unlike anything. I mean, her metallic shades are just so smooth, especially a shade called Blitz Flame. I mean, first of all, when you look in here, for it to be a shimmer shade or a metallic shade, as what you would call it, these are more shimmer shades, honestly, these two. But this particular metallic shade, when we think about most metallic shades from like our Anastasia Beverly Hills or Violet Voss or Too Faced Cosmetics, they are not this smooth. You can see the particles within it. I mean, look how smooth this shade is. And then when you pick it up, look, it's nothing even falling out. And then look at the pigmentation. I mean, I have it all over my eyelid today. And then you go ahead and swatch it. I'm just going to swatch it right here. Look, just look how smooth that is. It is just compared to anybody else. And that's not even wet. So just imagine, I'm looking for my little rag so I can wipe my finger off. But just imagine if you were to wet that shade, how much intensified that shade would be. And then you have her special shades, or just her glitter topper shades. These shades are like anyone else. We've all seen topper shades. Don't get me wrong. We've all seen topper shades where you can just put it over an eyeshadow just to give it that little extra oomph. I mean, we have a whole palettes full of them like Rihanna does. That Galaxy palette that came out last Christmas. Also, we have the Urban Decay Moon Dust. That is a beautiful formula. I'm not knocking these formulas. But these right here, this is glitter like you've never seen glitter before. It's very finely milled glitter. The glitter particles are very, I mean, they're just, I really don't even know how to describe it. They're very fine, and these shades have base to them. A lot of them have a heavy duochrome shift to them. So even if you were to put like 1 or 2 shades over it, it totally changes what the shade looks like. So maybe if you have another palette, you know, and you just want to say, oh, I just really want to, I'm just missing something to this look, and you just throw one of these shades on, it's going to totally change the color of that shade. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the shade names with you, and I'm going to jump into some swatches. So you have Skin Show Divine. You have Extreme Aubergine. You have Guilty Pleasure. You have Entrapment. You have Bronze Blaze. You have Disobedient. You have Blitz Flame. Rose Gold 005. VR Fire Opal. And Astro Lunar Gold. So I'll go ahead and swatch these for you guys. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into this demo. So I already have my eyebrows filled in, and I have a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way concealer underneath them to just help carve them out, as you can see, and I need to get them cleaned up. So this is actually a good way to have your eyebrows have the appearance that you've gotten them just freshly waxed or threaded, or whatever your method is of just maintaining or grooming your brows. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and start with priming my eyes, and I use the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and this one is actually in the shade Caffeine. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply a little bit. And you want to always go ahead and make sure you're using an eye primer. Using an eye primer can be very important. You can use concealer or something that's specifically made as an eye primer. Priming your eyes. I have dry skin, so even though I have dry skin, I still need to prime my eyes because I use quite a bit of product just to make sure that my eyelid, sorry, not my eyelids, but I use just a good amount of product to make sure that my skin is hydrated. And then also, if you have oily eyelids, and then you just want the maximum performance out of your eyeshadows, and using an eyeshadow primer really ensures that. You want your eyeshadows to last all day, look like they did when you first put it on. Eyeshadow primer or concealer as a base is definitely the way to go. This will ensure maximum performance out of your eyeshadows, which is important because nobody doesn't want, I guess you just don't want to have, not have your performance of your eyeshadows be to the max. Maybe you do. I don't know. That's just what you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this out. I'm sorry. I should just show this to you first. I'm using a deluxe crease brush by Real Techniques. As you see, it's pretty dirty, but it's just a dome-shaped blending brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and spread that eyeshadow primer out. And then I do like to take it down into the corner of my eye. so my shadows can grab there. Now sometimes I just like to take my finger, just make sure it's even, because right there in the corner it tends to not spread very evenly. And then when I apply my shadows, it makes it look like they're skipping. And that's just kind of happened with all eyeshadow blends. Sorry, it's just a little bit of primer right there. I'm just trying to make sure it's spread out. Okay, so once I have my primer down, I'm not going to set it. Some people use like translucent powder or their face powder to set it, or either just a neutral eyeshadow that's kind of like their skin complexion to set it, but I'm not going to do that. I just want a really tacky base for my eyeshadows to grab onto, and I'm going to go ahead and start with a Sephora. This is the Pro Crease Brush, and it looks like this. It is actually a little bit dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and use my color switch, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of dust off some of that excess product from whatever colors I was using before. And then I'm going to go ahead and start with this shade right here. Sorry, let me just grab these shade names. See, this is the problem about having to keep up with the shade names and keep up with the card. You have to keep track of all that stuff. Too much. But I'm going to go ahead and take this color Entrapment, and I'm going to use it as my transition color, and I'm just going to tap off a tiny bit of the excess if it's any there, and I'm just going to go ahead and start applying it in windshield wiper motions. I'm just going to go back and forth, and I'm just following my orbital bone right here and just creating dimension. I kind of like to take it up a little bit because my eyes are somewhat hooded. You might not be able to tell in this position, but I have skin when I look straight that just kind of sits on top. And when I do my crease colors in this particular direction, instead of just going across right here, it makes the eye look more lifted. And it's all about using your dimensions and your colors. Just going to blend that back and forth. So these colors are building up very nicely. It's adhering to this primer very well. Sorry, just checking. The color right there. It's adhering to this primer very well. And then you could just build this up to the intensity that you like it. I don't really know where I'm going with this look, but I do know that I'm going to use that Blitz Flame shade. Like, that shade has to be used. And I'm talking about this shade right here. Ever since I saw the promo pics of this palette, it's like, that shade right there, that's me. That's my jam. That's always been my jam. Those type of red fiery shades, orange fiery shades, red fiery shades. Ugh, I love them so much. I'm just going to build it up on the other side, same thing that I did on the other eye. Just going back and forth, using light windshield wiper motions. When you blend your shadows, you want to hold your brush at the end. It really makes a difference versus if you're holding your brush like right here and then you apply too much pressure. You just want to kind of hold them here. I know sometimes I find myself here, but somewhere in this area between, just, you don't want to be here. You want to hold the brushes loosely, because otherwise it kind of disrupts your blending process. Then you're applying too much pressure to your eye. So I'm just going to go back and forth. And now I'm pretty happy where I have this color, but I'm always like going back and retensifying. That's just me. But that, you know what, that's actually just not me. That's just part of the makeup process in general. You know, if you're not happy with something, you can always go back and add more, you know, but sometimes you always want to start with less because you can't take away. You can always add, but you cannot take away. So, okay, I finished with the color Entrapment. Now I want to go ahead and kind of deepen that up just a tiny bit, add a little bit more depth and dimension. And I'm going to go ahead and take This is a Makeup Geek brush, and this is the fine crease brush. And I've actually been pretty much enjoying this brush right here. It's been really helpful for my crease to just get that detail work, because if I was to go in, I want to have the color like right underneath this color right here. If I go in with another brush of this size, it'll kind of just blend on top, and it's going to cover more base. So brushes that are smaller, of course, they're going to take up less space versus brushes that are bigger and fluffier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this color called Disobedient, which is a little bit darker brown right here. And I'm just going to take just a tiny bit, because I do want to use that color, that purple color, Extreme Aubergine, and give it like a nice purple effect. But I'm just going to kind of just create more dimension. See if we can get the focus. It just gives it more dimension right here by just adding that darker shade right in there. I'm going to go ahead and blend that out. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just take a tiny bit amount on my brush. Probably didn't even have to dip in, but you know, everybody's always so used to dipping in. Dipping in the shadows. Okay, and then I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to wipe it off in my little color switch stain. And I'm going to take this Extreme Aubergine color. That's this color right here. I'm very happy that it's not a black in here. I know most people feel like their palettes cannot be complete unless it has a black shadow, but I honestly don't feel that way. I think everybody at this point should kind of have their favorite black shadows, unless they're, you know, a beginner, but that you can draw from if you just really want to know black. But sometimes it's kind of cool, and it makes the palette unique if, you know, the shadow is not black. That deepens up the look. Gives it a nice little twist, makes it fresh. So it's usually, if there's, as long as there's something that I can deepen up the look, I'm pretty much good. These two shades out together a little bit more. I have just wiped this little brush off. I need to clean my brushes, honestly. I have a MAC brush right here, and this is a 224 SE, and it probably look a little different than most people's MAC brushes. This was a brush that I received in a holiday set. I don't know, so many years ago, but let me tell you, it's my favorite. It comes in the clutch. It's my favorite blending brush. If I didn't have this brush, man, oh man, oh man. Talking about upset. If I had to go on a trip and forget this brush, not a happy camper. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pack this Blitz Flame shade all over my lid, and I mean, these shadows pick up so nicely. And I'm not even going to wet this shade. I'm just going to see how it applies without me wetting it. Start there first. And just going to pick it up right here. And well, if you can see it, but I mean, it's very, very pigmented. Very pigmented. So, and I'm going to go ahead and pat this across the eye. I do want the color to be very saturated on my eyelid, so I'm not going to go across my eye in sweeping motions. I'm going to pack and tap on there, and then I'll sweep across if need be, and then I'll go ahead and pack it again just to intensify that shadow. But when you sweep it across, you're going to lose some of the intensity of the shadow versus just doing the packing motions. Go ahead and add Blitz Flame. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see that, but it is gorgeous. Like, it doesn't even require much. And I just want to let you know, like, it's no kickback. Look at it. It's like nothing. You might see a little red right there. That's because I just got, when I was putting my brush in. But I'm pretty gentle with my makeup. But look, like this shade, no kickback. Most metallic shades, you know, you get some type of kick up. They're very, very smooth. And that's why I don't, like, mind her formula being in my crease. Because it's a very smooth formula. And I'm just going to take it kind of down into this little eye groove. And I'm just going ahead and intensifying the look. And this shade is gorgeous. I know I keep saying that, but that's just how I feel. Sorry. Okay, so now that I've gotten that Blitz Flame shade all across my lid, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more of the Extreme Aubergine. And I just want to kind of re-intensify this outer corner. I'm going to go back to that same, well, I thought it was going to be the same brush. Oh, here it is. I found it. I'm going to go back to the same brush and just to take a tiny bit more. And I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of fill in right here on the edge, if you can see. Just kind of re-intensify that color. And just making sure it's all blended in nicely. And I'm just kind of tracing it around where I had the red shade, if you can see. So I'm going to go ahead. And now I got the shadow pretty where I want to take it. But now I want to go ahead and use, this is called Ashleigh Gold. And I'm going to go ahead and take the same Tarte brush that I was using right here. And I'm going ahead and clean it off a little bit. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of this Ashleigh Gold. Now remember, this is like the topper shade that she has. So it's very glittery, as you see right here. Very glittery. It does pick up nice on a synthetic brush. But I'm going to go ahead and wet it so the color can be more intensified, and also so the glitter particles will lay and attach to my skin. You don't want to wet it too much so it won't be too chunky, but just wet it a little bit. And sometimes if you spray too much, you might want to just kind of let it dry for a second, so it's not so wet when it goes on your eyes. And I just actually used a little bit of Max Fix Plus to go ahead and wet my brush with, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap it in that corner. Ooh. So pretty. Not sure if you can see it. It is gorgeous color. And it really just helps the look pop. And I'm just going to follow the shape of the inside of my eye. And place that glitter all over there. And now I'm going to take that same MAC brush before that 224. And I'm just going to make sure it's cleaned off. And I'm just going to kind of lightly blend that glitter into my other shades. I'm not going to take it across here because I don't want the glitter over there. But I'm just going to softly blend it in. So it's not just like glitter sitting right there on your eye. I'm just going to kind of fade it in. And that was like a great way to open up that inner corner. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back and I went ahead and did the other eye, added some wing liner and some lashes, as you can see. For my wing liner, I used the Fenty Beauty because I'm black wing liner. I actually quite enjoy this wing liner. At first it was a little bit more runnier consistency, but now that I've used it a few more times, it's not as runny and it's very black. And the name is called Cause I'm Black. And if you guys know, like, Rihanna has a very, you know, feisty attitude, and this lip liner, this eyeliner is actually named after a clapback. So, you know, Rihanna's a girl, like, you know, don't come for her unless she sends for you, okay? Because otherwise she will have some words for you. So Rihanna posted a picture on her Instagram and this person wrote, well, why is your hair nappy? And she said, because I'm black. So hence we have Cause I'm Black eyeliner, and I really do enjoy the formula of this, especially since I've been working with it a little bit more. And then I went ahead and added my Sigma liner right here in the waterline, and this is the Lone Wear liner, and it's just a coal black liner. So let's go ahead and work on this face. I'm gonna go ahead and take my Fenty Beauty foundation, and I'm just gonna shake it up just a tiny bit. I used the shade 370. So this is their Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. And I'm just going to go ahead and use a flat top kabuki brush. This brush is from It Cosmetics. To use my Smashbox primer underneath this. Sorry, had to get it. It failed. But this is the Photo Finish primer. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I usually typically use, just put a couple of dots on my face, and it probably works out to maybe about a pump or a half a pump. And I just go ahead and take my brush and just kind of buff it in. And I really enjoy this foundation, like I've been saying. It makes you look very, I guess, filter. That is the name of the foundation. It's the Pro Filter Foundation. But I do enjoy it because it makes you look natural. So it's like you look filtered, but it doesn't necessarily look like you have, you know, a whole lot of makeup on. And that's what I like about it, for the most part. I also do like that once you're wearing it, it doesn't seem to transfer. Excuse me, my allergies are always off the chain. If I waited for them to die down, you probably would never ever see a video from me in life. It's just how bad they are. And I take plenty of allergy medicine for them. However, like I was saying about the foundation, I like how smooth and just the overall evenness that it gives you. However, that is what foundation's for, is to make your skin even. But I like that it still makes me look like myself. You know, when I wear makeup, I just want to look like an enhanced version of myself. Okay, so now that we've seen the swatches, we're just going to jump into some final, well, not really final thoughts, because I am going to come back and review this palette with some other things that I want to review for you and give you just a full review of the palette. These are just more of my first impressions. Now, like I said, this palette is gorgeous. We just could not even debate that, but $125 is a lot to spend on some makeup. But if you can afford it, and I do mean if you can afford it, then I think that it might be, you know, worth the splurge, especially if you're really interested in the Pat McGrath Cosmetics line, or just been wanting to try, you know, her eyeshadow formulas. You could definitely start off, you know, with one of the mini palettes that I talked about, which was this. These retail for $55. But the only problem with these particular ones, they do not have those little special transformer shades on there in those particular palettes. So, but if you are a VIB Rouge and you have the 2,500 points, I think that would be a fabulous way to try her products, because then at that point your risk is only $25 and you cannot beat that. I mean, you can't get a quality eyeshadow palette, I mean, other than like Juvia's Place, you know, or I wouldn't say you can't get a quality product, but it's hard to find something of this magnitude for $25, and I think it would be an absolute, you know, way to just try out that line. I mean, you can't beat $25 versus $125, especially if you have those points. Do keep in mind, even though you have those points, you have to use it in one transaction, so that is a downside. But that is just a good way to try this palette. As far as doing your makeup, I would make sure that you do your eye makeup first before using one of these palettes. Just because even if you use like the shimmer shades, not so much that red metallic shade that I was speaking of, but the shimmer shades and then those transformer shades, they have a lot of fine glitter. And even if you powder, the glitter doesn't really wipe away very easily. So I would just make sure that you do your eye makeup first and then go on to your base makeup. Another downside of the palette may be that you might be a little bit intimidated by the palette if you are a beginner or just getting into makeup. Not to say that you can't use it, but those three shades, they're not the easiest to work with. And just following the tips and tricks, like using a glitter glue or using, you know, Fix Plus Medium. But if you're not really familiar with those items too, and you're just starting off to makeup, it might just be more of a hassle, and you might feel that the palette doesn't really perform like it should because you're not experienced enough in makeup. But if you feel that you can handle it and you're just really intrigued about the brand, it might be a good way to just jump in, and it will stretch your creativity. I think the looks that you could do with this palette are gorgeous. You can do daytime looks, you can go do evening looks, you can do fun, playful looks, you do more creative avant-garde looks. And I think that's what it's meant to be when she created this line, you know, like just to push your creativity. You know, there are no rules to makeup. You can wear your makeup how you want. I do feel like, even though no rules to makeup, if you really want to wear your makeup, you should just follow a couple rules. And we'll get into that in another video. And I mean, that's just to make your makeup look better. Who doesn't want their makeup to look better? But I think it's just a great palette overall. I'm very happy with it. And I'll just come back and share my final thoughts in another video for you about my full review once I've used all the shades. Today I've used, so far I've used quite a few of the shades. I've used 1, 2, 3. I've used 5 shades, so that's not terrible when you're talking about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so half. So I just want to go ahead and give a full review on the whole product itself. And thank you for joining me, and please subscribe and click the notification bell so you can see when I upload my videos. I'm very happy that you guys are here with me today. A big hug, big hug, big hug. And I'm so happy, you just don't even know. I just love makeup. I've always loved makeup, and I was just like, I really just need to put myself out here. Like, stop being scared. Stop being scared. Do it. If nobody watches, nobody watches. If everybody watches, it'll be even better. But at least I can say at the end of the day, I tried and I put my best foot forward. And please subscribe again to my channel. And I did it. I did it. Sorry, I'm a whole dance party. Right now, chair dancing is more my ministry. But you get it. But you get it. I did my first YouTube video by YouTube, and this is Dr. Ashleigh. And like I said, I'm Dr. Ashleigh and her makeup. So I look forward to seeing you guys again. Bye.